Oh, I had the wrong stinger. Oh well.
Ah,
Hey everybody,
dang
how's
it.
it going? So I'm Greg Burke, and this is with me is Chris Nance. We are with the NorCal Ghostbusters. How you doing, Chris?
Mm, I'm doing great, Greg. How are you?
It's a good day to be a Ghostbusters fan. Let me put it
It's
that way.
really, it's been a great couple of weeks.
Yeah, it really has. And we wanted to do a little prompt. We're not going to do a live reaction of the trailer because we've already watched it like 700 times today.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
but we are going to do like a breakdown. Hi, Schliebo, what's up?
Yeah.
We're going to do like a
Hey,
breakdown of what we
Schleebo.
think and what we want to do and like what we're looking forward to and like some of the small tells in here too. And I've never been happy to so wrong. Chris, I told you that I thought that the ghost was going to be Sam Hain, and I've never
Hmm.
been more happy to be wrong because I'm happy to see a brand new ghost make their way, which is we don't even know what the ghost's
Yeah.
name is. We just know that
Yeah.
it's icy
A fe-
cold.
we know it's an unnamed female who is icy cold, is also known as the Death Chill, has appeared on a semi-annual basis during the summer in New York. So they've appeared before, historically, right? We can suss that out from the teaser.
No, for sure. And like it's also I my theory is I think that the Ghostbusters have fought her before, maybe in like a more casual environment, like maybe like before they were
I don't
full
know.
power because they all look terrible. I know like the theme is like scared to death is the theme of the trailer, but
Hmm.
I've never seen the Ghostbusters that frightened, especially Venkman. Venkman doesn't scare easy. So so the fact that
Yeah.
he might recognize there's a scene, let me pull it up, where you actually have Bill Murray in this, and where he pulls back, and he looks actually quite
Yeah.
terrified.
The shot of him and Winston. Yeah.
Yeah, like I hope
In
they
front of
don't
the Echo.
die. I'm really hoping they don't kill them in the in the movie to prove that the situation is serious.
So I don't know about that, man. I think a lot of fans are kind of expecting Bill to use this as his chance to bow out from the franchise, but I don't know because like especially after the last year or two, what else is he doing? Like,
He's gonna pull a Han Solo basically.
well, dude, you know what? Have you seen one of his brothers has this like golf like stuff company?
Hmm.
T-shirts,
Yeah.
golf socks, like all that sort of stuff. And they just released a line of Ghostbusters themed William Murray things. So like actually like there's actually a t-shirt design that they released that I really like because it's like, the picture of Bill Murray like walking away just casually throwing his golf club over his shoulder. Like
Do they
like
have these
they
online? I mean,
yeah.
do we need to do we have to take up golfing now? Is that like a
Yeah. Wow.
I think we have to take up golfing. I think we're required by law.
I
Like
think
if you
I
have a
think that
proton pack, you have to be a simp for everything Ghostbusters. It's a
that's
rule.
pretty much how that works. Yeah. Here,
You
let
know,
me
it's
see if I
funny.
can.
I'm happy to
Oh
be
yeah,
part of
it's
a
the
fandom. I'm happy to
so
be
it's
part of
the
a fandom that's not crazy, like it popular. You know what I mean? Like it's popular, but it's not like Marvel popular or Star Wars popular. You know what I mean? Like
there you go, Greg. I just gave you the link to that William Murray Golf. They have a Something Strange collection they just released. That's a bunch of like Ghostbusters themed like golf gear. Golf like polo T-shirts, like graphic tees, some stickers, like
$88.
it's
Come on, Bill. You're killing me. You're killing me here, Bill.
bro. But bro, dude, check this shit out. Oh, okay, check this
Is it
one
like
out.
what's the symbol? Oh, it's
I
just
want
oh,
I
okay. It's
want
just
this
a
shirt so badly. I want this shirt so badly.
$35 isn't terrible.
Yeah, but tell me that design isn't totally rad.
That is a cool design. It's definitely unique.
Yeah, I love that art.
The key here is Ghostbusters inspired, right? Because he does not have the
Yeah,
rights to the movie, and Sony has that.
yeah, correct, correct. Ah,
Okay.
Depot. Hey, Depot. And you're not wrong, man. Like, yeah, yeah. Bill is definitely much more invested in the
It's
franchise than I think he wants to play himself as.
it's no, it's just it's an age thing, man. I'm telling you. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, there was a certain time where like Bill Murray was the sexiest man alive, and he was the hot shit in Hollywood, and everyone wanted a piece of him, and he hated Ghostbusters because it was the trendy thing. And then, like, as you get older, you just start care less about that stuff and realize that it's just a fun thing to do. Dan realized that
Mhm.
decades ago. Dan's like, yeah, this
Oh
is
yeah.
great. Like, Dan
I
does
th-
not hate the franchise whatsoever. He's like, that's fun. Like,
I
it's like,
I think
yeah,
that's where Dan started. You
yeah.
know.
Well, like that's SNL, right? Like SNL is, I think. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know. Was he SNL or was he? What's the? Is it City? What's the something TV for the Canada one? I can't remember.
Yeah. So I think Dan. Somebody in chat is going to have to check me on this. I know Dan was on SNL. I think he might have also been on the Canadian one as well. I know Rick Moranis was on both. Harold Ramis was on both. No. Harold Ramis was on the Canadian one, but he wasn't on SNL, if I recall. He might have written for SNL, possibly. I'm not as boned up on my Harold Ramis lore as I am on my Dan Aykroyd. I'm very sorry, chat.
SCTV, was that what it's called? I can't remember what
Yes.
yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
he started there, and then he ended up going to SNL, and then after
Mhm.
that, everything it's this kind of history, with the Martin Shorts and the Chevy Chases and the
Yeah.
all that good stuff, and the Bill Murrays. Like he started doing that stuff. Thank you, Belushi. SNL, yes, all SNL. But
Yeah.
I
Thank
believe
you, Depot.
he did have a small stint on SCTV, but I think SNL was his big one.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
let's talk about this.
definitely.
Okay, first of all, I want to say something, and if I ever
Yeah.
get to interview Jason Reitman or Gil Kennan, which I'm going to bug them. As soon as the press tour starts, I'm going to find out who runs Ghost Corp and ask for interviews to be looped in on the EPK, because I know Jason's going to get access because Jason's the the number one source Ghostbuster news in the world. But I want to ask him where the hell Ecto 1A is. Where? Come on, man! Like, did the second movie happen? Did it? I don't know.
Literally scared to death. So cool.
I mean, it's there. It's the car. It's the same car. I think the explanation is that the Ecto is the same Ecto that we've seen continuously, and it's just like gone through different versions. I mean,
Okay.
even Winston kind of addresses it at the end of Afterlife when he's oh, you've been, like the after credit scene in Afterlife where he like
Yeah.
kind of is very fond of the Ecto, like I think that it's the same Ecto.
Okay, I'm gonna have to ask him that. Like the second, like we have a Ghost Corps contact, because back in the day before the pandemic hit and the world ended, we were getting offers to like do some like free marketing for
Yeah.
the movie, passing out flyers. But I'm like, nah, we don't pass out flyers, dude. We do interviews. So
Yeah.
let you contact me with your PR, get me on your EPK list, because we're gonna talk to this. We're gonna work out some interview process here for the Shack. And I'll show him some of the Ghostbuster stuff that I've written. I didn't write anything today just because, I mean, it's a trailer. I think like everyone knows it's out, and by the time it was out, it was too late, and Jason already wrote about it, and everyone wrote about it. So
Well, yeah, Jason, I think, obviously, because I don't know about you, Greg. What source on YouTube did you watch the teaser on first?
Sony.
Because when it dropped this morning, I watched it on Ghostbusters News. I watched it
Okay.
on Jason dropped it before Sony did on my feed.
So I watched it on
that's-
Sony, yeah.
I watched it like 5 times on Ghostbusters News. Like that's a lot of these screenshots that I've shared with you in DMs. Like that's where they came from. Actually, is from the Ghostbuster News post.
Literally scared to death.
Man, it's been a wacky day.
Although the trailer showed us like for a teaser, like I wouldn't call this a teaser, because you look at the Afterlife teaser, it was just like a zoom in of it was like a specific trailer shot for the teaser. It wasn't even in the film itself.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
like
it was.
Time in New York history.
This shows you so much. I'm a little concerned that there are too many characters. You know what I mean? When you think about it, because you think about Ghostbusters 1 and Ghostbusters 2, it's basically Venkman and Dana Barrett are the main characters, and you have, Egon, Ray, Winston, and then Louis Silly, 4 of the other ones. You have, what, five, 6 main characters?
No,
and there's a lot
I
more
would-
than 6 in here.
Yeah. So even Lewis, I would say the way they cut down 2, especially, like Lewis really doesn't have as much screen time. Like,
So cool.
like Dana has more screen time than Lewis does. Like he really is not very consequential to the plot.
Hey Inferno, what's up? Yeah, I have a beard. So I went to BlizzCon over the weekend, and like I do a handlebar mustache, and my
Oh
wife hates
yeah.
my wife hates the handlebar mustache, so I shaved off. But it'll be back in a week. It'll come.
Yeah.
This is like 4 days, so it'll be back, and by the end of next week, I'll have a
Yeah,
beard
yeah,
again. So
yeah. Give it a day or
all will
two.
be right with the world again. Everything will be good. So don't worry there.
Let's go ahead and check out the
Ads? No, wait. Wrong ads. I don't want ads. So Chris, did this blow your expectations out of the water with the trailer? Was this what you expected?
So no, what I expected was half of what we got.
Half.
I thought, yeah, no joke. I thought what we were gonna see was pretty close to like pretty much everything in that first half of the trailer, where it's all of the build up and suspense of like everybody's out on Coney Island having a fun time. Which, by the way, are we getting down to the breakdown section quite yet? Because I have things to say even before we see equipment.
I want to see. You have a big equipment thing, but I want to talk about your expectations of the trailer in general when you watched it.
Yeah. So I thought what we were gonna see was gonna end right up on basically this shot that was just shown, where it's the ice freezing up through the street and stopping up on the firehouse. Like everybody out on the beach having a fun time at Coney Island, and then like this big storm comes in, and then like we see the like kind of through different shots we see the path of this ice like climbing through the streets, and then it ends on the firehouse. That's what I thought we were gonna get, because we were told teaser trailer, right? It's just gonna be a teaser, and then the second half of this trailer happens.
Literally scared to death.
Holy shit!
It's a lot. It's a lot to take in.
We see like the new primary characters. We get some passing shots of the updates to the hero props, because there are some major updates to the hero props. We get like just the right amount of tease for the new villain. Like, it's so good. Yeah, totally Infernal. Actually, like Infernal makes a really strong point. I feel like the first bit of music there has strong 90s and New York, LA vibes. And as you go further, where it gets to like the shots of like kids playing in the street, like look at that background of New York. Like, what part of New York has looked like that in decades? Like, since the cleanup in the 70s, right? Like,
I mean, like
New York hasn't. Look at all like the graffiti, the shoes hanging from the wire, like the kids playing with the fire hydrant in the street. Like, New York hasn't looked that way in a really long time, outside of a couple of specific neighborhoods.
I don't know. I'm a West Coast kid. I don't know much about the New York. People still have to explain the New York and New Jersey like competitiveness to me, because I don't get it. So I'm told, but like, no, you're right. It does have those good vibes. I mean, I came in with really like moderate expectations. I liked Afterlife. I didn't love it. I liked it. So, but I'm hoping that this moves into an area of more like, I want to explore the world more. You know what I mean? I want to explore like, you know, like you said, we'll get into the breakdown in a second, but with like the gear and like the franchise and what's been going on and like that kind of stuff. Because we only really got like a little bit of exposition from Dan in the first, from Ray in the first and Afterlife. So like we didn't get that. I want to get more of that. I want to know what's been going on. And I think we're going to get this. So we should start the breakdown segment now. And I'm going to start it. I'll just start it at the New York streets, like you said, Chris, and you can talk about how clean it looks. Because I don't know, this is how New York looks to me. I mean, I don't know. There's less heroin on the streets, I guess. I mean, less meth on the streets. I don't know.
Greg, if you stop it right on that shot of the carousel, I will start right there. And you know, I keep saying, oh, it starts with idyllic shots of Coney Island, specifically Coney Island, right? And the reason why, the reason why I say that is because if you notice that the name stuck on the side of that carousel is Wonder Wheel, and you go into Google and do some Google searching, what you'll find is Dean's Wonder Wheel on Coney Island, New York. So the absolute, like the whole opening sequence here that we have is all set in like all over Coney Island, which makes me wonder if like they've talked about how like the very first, like the impetus for the plot with like this ice figure that we've seen. Is like this ice figure has been trapped in an artifact, and then somebody bumbles with it and releases them, and it makes me like really wonder if we're going to see a big action sequence around Coney Island, kind of like as our first big action sequence.
They've messed with that before in the animated series as well as the comics, right? It's been like an area where they go. I mean, in the animated series and the real Ghostbusters, they fight Cthulhu there, I believe, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So like, yeah, it's one of those areas like where do you go after arguably the Empire State Building? It wasn't the Empire State Building, right? But the concept was it
yeah.
was the Empire State Building in the first
It's
film.
just as iconic
Yeah.
to New York as anything else in these movies in the franchise.
In the second film, you go to the Museum of History, another big iconic landmark for New York, and so like,
Well, and in the first one, you go to the New York Public Library.
yes,
You go to Columbia University. What else? There's some pretty. You go to like central, like Dana's apartment building, like where the camera is standing when they look at Dana's apartment building for the first time, right? You get that rising shot of the building.
is it the Upper West Side?
It's Central Park. It's literally Dana's building is on Central Park West, so it's right
Spook
outside of
Central.
Central Park. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's Spook
Yeah.
Central. Thank you, Infernal.
I don't think
But
they
yeah,
use
no,
the Ferris wheel Schlebo. They use the dock. They're just on the boardwalk. I think the boardwalk itself. Okay,
no,
so
actually, I think Schlebo is right. Is that they draw Cthulhu into grabbing the carousel wheel?
oh,
and
that's
then
right. They do.
blast
No, they
it
do.
to-
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here and then the Ferris wheel stops. Spooky stuff starts to happen.
Hmm.
But like, is this the beginning of the movie or the end? This is a very weird. You know what I mean? Like, if the whole city isn't shrouded in ice when the Ecto One just driving around, right?
I think this is the end of the first act. Because this happens after somebody messes with whatever the artifact is that the ghost is trapped in and accidentally releases them. So I think that's the end of the first act is what we're seeing is like all of this build up.
I don't see Ray's Occult Bookstore next to the
Mm,
thing. So maybe that was just a fan thing from Spirits Unleashed. Would have been cool if it did
yeah,
move next door, but I understand why.
yeah,
I'm sure it will
it,
be
it
in the movie.
yeah, absolutely. There has been some speculation that like a lot of people have been speculating that the shots we see later in this teaser, let's just let it roll. We'll get into that.
Well, no, the interesting thing too is like
uh,
I've been to this firehouse, and I don't think this is real. I don't think this shot is real
no,
because it like
no.
there's the street's too wide. There's a building on the other side, so I think this is all fake. This shot, but that's okay because it looks great.
Well, and we know that they didn't really interrupt the real firehouse for filming. They built it on a set in London,
Yeah, I don't
and we
think they,
kind of
they
see why.
Yeah, I think there were a lot of indoor stuff that they had to like. They're inside it a lot, and there's some action scenes that happen, so you have to build your own set around that. You can't,
Yep.
monopolize it for. They didn't even monopolize it in the first movie. There's just a lot of exterior shots, really, because it's
No,
on Skid
well,
Row.
so at the time, Skid Row wasn't really Skid Row. Not the way that we think of it in the
Hmm.
modern day. Skid Row didn't really become that way until more like the 90s.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, so like the LA firehouse where they shot all the interiors was not a working firehouse.
Is retired.
So
Yeah.
they could spend as much time as they wanted as long as they paid the permits.
So this is your expertise, Chris. Anything?
Mm.
Did you see anything different about the Ecto One in this film that you've noticed? Please break it down for us.
The roof rack has new elements on it. So this is all stuff that we've already had time to analyze from the
Behind the
leaked
scenes, yeah.
the leaked footage when they were doing street filming for action sequences. So obvious thing first and foremost, the stripes, right? We got the racing stripes. I really love the racing stripes. Second thing, and this is a good pause. Thank you, Greg. So, what used to be blue tubes on the left-hand side, the driver's side of the vehicle, are now silver tubes. The roof rack is different. We can actually see a completely different sort of gadget on top. There's no HVAC box on top on the roof rack. Uh, they we already know that the from the leaked footage that the gunner seat, the pop out gunner seat, still is there. And then I think if you let it roll for a second, there's going to be one more little detail on the other side of the car. It sure looks like a Super Slammer Infernal, but we don't know.
Yeah, Super Slammer. Dude, I mean, it
It-
would be great if we did get some video game stuff because Ivan
Mm,
Reitman, Dan, and Harold have all said, yeah, the video game's technically canon. Technically. It's not faux canon. They called it canon. They said,
Yeah.
Chris, they said.
yeah, Dan did call it Ghostbusters 3.
Yeah. So, I mean, if we see some of that gear, that would be great. Didn't you say, we're getting ahead of myself, did you say there was a photon dart attachment somewhere?
We don't know. If you let the trailer roll for a couple more seconds, we will get to that.
Okay, so this spring, so that means April, Easter, I'm going to guess, right? Easter?
Infernal, you confirmed that earlier. It's March 29th.
Yeah,
They
probably.
have a
Boson dart.
solid
Thank
they
you,
have a
Infernal.
solid date. Yeah.
For the first time in
Yeah.
So this is a shot with like Phoebe at the pole in the firehouse, it looks like, and I think this is like
I think
the
this is early.
the end of Act 1, like where they fight
Yes.
it and they lose, right? Like it gets whatever it's
Agreed.
supposed to get, which I think it's going after
I-
something in the containment unit, and then it, it leaves. So
I actually, considering how calm Phoebe is in this sequence, yeah, thank you, Schlebo. So first of all, HasLab pack. If you get into the nitty gritty on this, that looks like it's a HasLab proton pack for that Phoebe is wearing. It's modified.
it is.
They
For her,
yeah.
probably, yeah.
So McKenna Grace actually had a scoliosis correction surgery not too long before filming began. And so the fan theory right now is that at least for early shooting where Phoebe has to wear a proton pack, they gave her a modified HasLab pack.
For weight reasons, right?
Yes.
Dude, they
Yeah,
could
to
have done the extreme pistol
Yeah.
with the belt. That would have been great.
Well, so look at the strapping.
Mhm.
Like the strapping is totally the HasLab strapping.
It's a toy
Um,
commercial.
Yeah,
Just as
the
God
V hook
intended.
the V hook is correct. Like if you look super closely at the motherboard on that pack, like you can kind of see like, oh, that might actually be the stock HasLab motherboard that's plastic. Like, and then on top of that, they have all this extra padding, not just behind her neck, but down below her shoulder.
Yeah, it almost looks like the real Ghostbusters stuff when I've seen that. I've
Mm-hmm.
seen like it's just 3 little pillows on the back
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
or whatever
Exactly.
the rigid pillows.
So honestly, like because of where I think this falls in filming, as well as like just what we've seen so far, I actually think this is not necessarily the end of Act 1. I think this is a shot from mid-Act 1 when Phoebe is having a premonition of what is coming.
Okay,
New York history.
that makes sense. Who's this new character in the background? There's Finn Wolfhard, and that's. I don't know how I feel about Lucky being in this because I don't know what she's supposed to do.
She's going to be a badass.
I guess. I just, I need a reason for them to be there because it's a family business.
Well, Lucky was getting the fuck out of Kentucky, so.
Oh, so
Or,
who is
well,
this
was
guy
that-
in the background? Is this Eddie?
No, that's James. That's James Acaster is the actor. That's the British comedian actor that was hired as an unnamed equipment technician. So that's like one of the only confirmations that we have. We get this shot of him, and then we get a shot of him later where he actually has the company parka on. So the parkas that everybody's been freaking out about at the end of the trailer.
So this is the guy that's
At
going to
one
come
point-
in and help Dan in Spirits Unleashed closer to the movie when he says, "I have a guest coming, an intern, a summer intern."
So I have 4 guesses. 4.
Well, only 4. Okay,
Only 4.
go.
Yeah. So it's James Acaster, this character. Patton Oswalt's character, who I have other theories about, but we'll get to that later. Kumail Nanjiani's character, or podcast.
Well, they need a physicist, right? Like they don't have
Yeah.
one. So like they have like Ray's more of an
In
engineer. He's more of a technical engineer.
yeah, exactly. He's more of an engineer.
So they need a physicist to help like modify the equipment, which we're gonna get to in a second. Okay, so we see these characters here. Okay, so we don't know what his name is. We just know he's some kind of a technician, maybe.
Yep. Yeah.
But he is wearing
Uh,
he's wearing a jacket with a symbol on it, and I want
so
that jacket.
actually, if you pull it up, one of the screen caps that I dropped, out of the last 3 screen caps I gave you in DMs, is like a close up of the parka. That is James A. Castor's parka, and the other shot we get of him. If you want to pull it up.
Yeah, let me get it. Oh, and the parka. I'm not talking about the parka, but right now he's wait, here it is. Wait, hold on. I'm trying to find it. The black one? The black one or the red one?
The
I
red
don't want to
one.
get ahead of
Here.
myself, but if you can look at the stream here, let me lift this up a little bit. You can see the
Here.
Ghostbuster logo.
Wait, let me redrop it on you here.
Okay,
It's that one.
you can see the Ghostbuster logo on his right,
Yeah.
your left.
Oh. Oh shit, Greg. Good eye.
Yeah.
Cause if we let it roll for another second here and we get the shot to the first shot of Lucky. Let it roll. This is Patton and Ray narrating things.
See, here's the
Oh,
thing.
man.
Look, Ray's seen this before. He knows what it is. Like they've done, they've messed with this before. I know they have. They've dealt with this before, and it's not good.
I think that is the same look he has in Ghostbusters 1 when he and Winston are riding in the Ecto talking about the end of days.
What's the music? Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, we have Winston Zeddemore and Bill Murray in the firehouse. We have the public library. We may go back to the
yes.
public library.
Yep. We're going to be bouncing around here, it seems
Okay,
like.
here we go, Chris. Okay, what the hell is she holding?
We don't know. So this is, all right, this is one of the shots that we're super excited to talk about, right? So this is Phoebe and Winston. Phoebe is on the left, Winston is on the right. Phoebe seems to have some kind of arm-mounted neutrino wand. So a couple of my theory personally is I think that might be like just like an arm-mounted boson dart caster.
I'll take it.
That would be like that would be so cool. But
On the right, here's the big one on the right. So hold on, and Chris, I'm gonna you can stop me, but here's what I noticed, right? So you got a new bumper, right? Because
Yep.
obviously there's more power, it needs more restraint, more thing. You have a new ribbon cable, a brand new type of ribbon cable. I don't know.
No,
Is that 2 from 2? Is it the same one from 2?
GB1.
That's
That
GB.
looks like-
They went backwards?
No, so the Afterlife pack had a Ghostbusters 1 ribbon cable. I think that's a Ghostbusters 1 ribbon cable. The amount of white. So, shoot.
It's hard to tell because it's so compressed.
Yeah, it's so compressed. I think that's a GB1 ribbon cable. I don't know for sure. Obviously, we're working off of what we have, which is some very quick screenshots. But like, I think that's a GB1.
Is it too much white? Mine's dirtied up, so I can't tell. And you have a GB2 cable, but it looks like there's too much white for it to be a GB1 cable.
No, there's too much white for it to be a GB2 cable.
Okay.
It's like the GB1 cable has a lot more white in it.
And that's all I could tell. Everything else is too blurry. There's some caution striping on the side. With I think on the Reddit and on Facebook, everyone thought it was the trap. They were gonna have the traps on the side now, which would have been rad, but it would have been too much to try to put all that on. Too much gear.
I mean, it's also not really as practical as people like to pretend it's going to be. Like it doesn't work that well, guys. Like, let's be honest. Like,
here's how you make it work, right? You chop off the wheels, you put a magnet on it, and then you put a magnet on the pack. That's the only way you could really make it work.
Even then, like, the distance that you're reaching with your left hand over your shoulder. Like, it's got to be, down about here.
We can't even get our wands up and out with the angle.
Yeah, like, and that has a handle that stands super proud and forward where you can get to it.
Yeah, I can't see anything. I hate that. I hate that it's so dark. But this has
Mm,
always been the cool thing about Ghostbusters is like they don't talk about the equipment. They just show it, and then
mhm.
the community makes the call, which is kind of a cool like way to interact with your audience, right? Like even Dan said like I don't know what that's called, and like you tell the story better. Like people were like, "Is this called this?" And Dan's like, "Yes, sure," and he stamps it, right?
Yeah, yeah. There's the whole thing with like the way that the fans have kind of named a lot of things, and then like Dan just kind of incorporates those names. Like he just uses them.
I
Like
love the bumper. I love the bumper. I think the bumper looks rad. People say it looks like
the
a
thong.
thong, but I think it's cool
Yeah.
because that just means that the cyclotron is spinning faster and they need more secure way to keep it on the backpack. So
So I think it's even more practical than that, to be honest. Like it's just more protection to a critical part of the proton pack.
mhm.
Like
All right, we're gonna continue going forward. So they're in the thing. The ice comes in. They're all in gear, but they're not in their snow gear yet. So this is definitely Act 1 or 2.
yeah.
Here you can get a really good
Well,
look at the
so
side caution striping, which I don't know what that is. That's where
so
the right where the
so
lights are. What are the lights called again? You know what the lights are called?
the power cell.
The power cell. Thank you.
So we get it in a couple of shots here. If you go to the last shot that I sent you of Callie, you get a really clear view. Here, let me update it in the DMs for you again. So if you pull up that shot that I just sent you.
Oh wait, there's a good
Uh,
one of Winston too has one too
mm-hmm,
in
mm-hmm.
Cali. So it's here it is. Let's find this.
The Winston shot is going to be even earlier. It's like the shot directly before that background shot.
It's
Here.
better on Winston because it's better lit. I think. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's just the power cell, and then you can see the two
Yeah.
cables which are still there on the standard one.
So
Yep.
so this is really interesting. We get our first hint of a major change to the proton pack in this shot. The ion arm, which is going to be that big tower on the upper left-hand side of the
Mm-hmm.
pack, um, has had its end turned 90 degrees inwards.
So it's like bent.
Yeah. So the ion arm end cap, where the little rod stands out from,
Mm-hmm.
basically, like sits above the big booster tube and booster ladder, the big central tube next to it. Um, what it effectively does is it gets that big freaking rod out of the way so it doesn't get snagged on things. Yeah, exactly, Schlebo. Um,
I think it's just a matter of like the prop master sitting down with
you,
the thing like
but
how would you improve this gear
yep.
today, to make it more modern, more effective, more easier to transport.
The other interesting things is like, if oh, that's cool. That's really interesting, actually. I'm just noticing now with with the shot you have paused and then the shot of Callie on the same angle. You can see the same details on their ion arms. The tubing that runs to the side resistor on Winston's ion arm is yellow, and the tubing on Callie's is blue-green.
Do you think you're gonna
And it
get
looks
different
like it
people are different for different packs?
in minor details, it looks like it's using interesting. His oh, huh. I wonder if Winston is gonna have an eye like Winston's gonna have a unique pack, I think.
I think like you said before, we talked to this before the show, but like I think they're gonna have
There we
to.
go.
I think
That's
Shlibo said too. They're gonna have to. Like somebody in the chat said they're gonna have to adjust their packs in the movie to be more effective, which is what they did in the cartoon show all the time. Except it normally
Mhm.
wasn't something visual; it was something like a turn or they mod. But this could be a visual change that they make toward the packs. Like they don't have enough power. Like I like how like a Gooberson's thing is very long, very long name.
Mhm.
Sorry. Okay,
Oh,
so we got
even
ahead of
yeah.
ourselves. Wait, here we go. So we have here we go. We went through here.
The power to kill by fear itself. Your veins turn to rivers
Yep, the New York Public Library
of ice.
lion roaring at Ray there, and then so I think this shot might be later in the movie because if you look at the progression on the gear, Scott, my roommate, actually, oh,
I gotcha.
but yeah, if you look at the progression on the gear, because Gruberson pardon me, Gruberson has like the changes to his proton pack in this shot, like.
It's like a
Well,
huge barrel. Like it's
yeah,
huge.
it's got a big old barrel shroud on it. So it looks like there's a big like aluminum shroud stuck over the nozzle.
No, Infernal. I think it's just about like how could we improve on the '80s design? Like in the world, you're like, okay, how can we make this more effective with modern tech? Right? It's still gonna have the homemade feel, I'm sure, of doing it out of
Mhm.
your garage. They're just trying to make it a little bit more effective, just like what Egon did in Afterlife. Right? He made modifications to it to make it stronger, faster. Even the thrower color is slightly different. It's like more intense, right? I would describe it as more intense than the other beams
The
in
only
Afterlife.
so you know we only get like one or two quick shots of the beam, but like the thrower itself, like I have suspicions that like some of the upgrades that we're gonna see in this teaser trailer are actually like sort of late in the story of the movie and more about like uh 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 thermal shielding stuff, like trying trying to make it more cold resistant, basically.
Yeah, actually, but it does look like the 2016 barrel. That's a very good point. It really does.
Very much so.
of
And
ice.
another thing that I noticed earlier and that I'm noticing again more like in that quick shot, like it looks like the trigger
Turn to
tip
rivers of
is out of alignment with the front ear, the trigger ear around the front of the barrel shroud there. So if you look at the way that red tube kind of like bends, yep, yeah, like I think they're kind of leaning into like the twisting front grip like they had in on the original props in Ghostbusters 1.
Hmm.
ice.
All right, we have the containment unit, which is breaking, which it did
Mm.
that in one in the original in '84 Ghostbusters. It was shifting and bricks would pop out right when it immediately shifted out and broke out.
Hmm. And there's several stock proton or ghost traps there on the table as
Yeah,
well.
I see them here. Some are and they're empty. Some of them are empty.
Hmm.
Okay, where the hell is Lucky now? She's somewhere. She
So
might be in
that
the test range, right?
possibly, however, also I want to point out the jacket that Lucky is wearing. So earlier today, I was super excited at first, thinking like, "Oh, Lucky's in Ghostbusters 2 colored flight suit."
The charcoal gray.
That's that same jacket that we saw James Acaster wearing.
If I can find it again.
That shot of Lucky, yeah, there we go. That
Can
same
I get that
jacket.
jacket? Sony, can you make that jacket, please? I'd
That
spend a couple $100 on a jacket like that. Can we?
that looks like a basic thermal zip up like underlayer jacket with the
Yeah.
logo applied, and I bet it might even have the name tag on it.
Your veins turn to rivers of ice. Your bones.
And here we get the first look at the ghost, right? The death chill.
Yeah, yeah, the death chill, putting her horns back in.
So you think the artifact are the horns? The horns
Mm,
separate, and then that's how you weaken her to capture her.
It would explain why there is such like this shot is pretty consequential, right?
This is
Like
definitely the first shot of the ghost getting out of wherever it is, whether it's the containment unit or an
exactly. I
artifact
mean,
or whatever, or a circle or demon summoning circle or a portal, something coming into our world, right? That's the whole point. It does. Deepo Chat's right. Throwing the patch on
yeah,
anything would
yeah,
immediately require Chris and I to buy it like almost instantaneously. So
kinda, yeah.
in an official capacity, which is the funny thing about this franchise is there hasn't been a lot of stuff in official capacity. There's been T-shirts, sure, right, but there hasn't been like an official Sony flight suit. Has there, Chris? There's never been like an official
No.
Sony flight suit or official Sony jacket with the logo on it, like a nice jacket with the. There's never been any of that. It's always been T-shirts and sweatpants. You know what I mean? So like. They know their audience, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, kinda.
All right, so we'll move on from Night Chill. And then we have Eddie, not Eddie, in the red parka, who everyone Googled. The Facebook and the Reddit have been hilarious all day today because everyone Googled. They're like, $800? Yeah, fuck that.
Oh, I know. So, Greg, maybe you can help me with this. If we get a tiny glimpse here of his name tag.
I can't see it. It's too blurry.
So I see NF.
NT, maybe? Something? NT?
That's an F. You can just like yeah, click on the pull up the screenshot that I shared in DMs.
Yeah, NF. I can't. Yeah, that's too blurry.
NF.
Damn you, compression.
Yeah. So we don't know what his name is yet, but we get a little glimpse of what, his last name might, part of his last name.
Is it on
Infernal
IMDb?
confirmed. Yes, Infernal. They cast James Acaster as you.
It's Infernal. That's what they did. Clearly, lawsuit waiting to happen.
Obviously.
Thing you see.
Yeah, this
Alley
is definitely
intermittence.
I point this. This is definitely an occult room. This is like somebody was doing something in there they shouldn't have been doing.
Oh yeah, hidden behind a spice rack. Plated in gold.
Yeah, nothing ever came about messing with the cult in a closet of a spike rack when they were trying to figure out where the ghost came from. I'm sure. I always like the occult stuff. That's my favorite stuff. It's been like because at its core, Ghostbusters is they're investigators, so like they do have to figure out where the hell the ghost came from and what it's doing here.
So I kind of think Kumail Nanjiani might be the client, like Dana was in the first one.
Mm-hmm.
He comes to the Ghostbusters with this mystery that he found in his apartment that he just bought, or his house that he just bought, and that's where they find the artifact.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah, just like based on this shot and like some of the other shots of him, like he's really just kind of there.
And here's the thing where Lucky dies to prove the situation is serious. Someone's gonna die to prove the situation is serious.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be like you don't come back from that, dude. You're getting frozen to death. Like you don't like.
Extreme
I'd be surprised
Ghostbusters
if she lived through that. I'd be very shocked. There's another
So
good
this
shot of
also,
right here. Chris, the
change to the power cell. Yeah. You also, if you look closely at like just above that power cell, there's a big block.
Oh, it sticks out more. Okay, it sticks out a lot.
Yeah, you
more.
see that block there?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think just based on the dimensions and where the screws are on that, I think that is actually the ion arm end cap.
Okay.
So
they moved.
So
they moved it.
The piece of metal that the rod sticks into, I think that's that big chunk without the rod and without any of the fittings on it. That looks right. Like I think that's it.
It's hard to tell too, but it doesn't look like there's an Alice frame. It looks like it's just built into the padding's built into the pack now.
Oh, that's interesting.
Up here, it doesn't look like it sticks out very much.
Well, I wonder if they maybe they might have put padding around the Alice frame possibly because the strapping on the Alice frame stuff looks correct on most of these props that we see. It's really only that HasLab thing I pointed out that like kind of stands out.
Guts freezing up.
Yeah, and that's where Lucky dies.
Like, literally
Oh,
scared to death? So cool.
Yeah, here we go. The first shot of a really close up of the proton pack turning on. Everything looked the same
That
here,
looks
Chris.
stock. That looks stock, and I'll bet that's early in the movie with an unmodified pack.
Okay, this was kind of weird. I feel like the shots reversed.
Yeah, yeah. The stream looks reversed.
Because like remember in the cartoon you could pull, like they could hit a button and reverse the not the polarity but reverse the stream flow to pull in.
Mm.
And I guess you could also like you could on the thing there's a knob too that would turn into like a fishing reel, right? You could turn it and it would bring it closer.
Yeah, so it's implied in the first Ghostbusters when they're busting Slimer that the top knob, um, shoot, I don't have a thrower handy here to show you, but the knob, like the silver knob on top, is like what shortens and lengthens the stream.
Mm-hmm. It's a shorten your
Um,
stream. I don't want my face burned off, right? Because it
exactly.
waggles as it goes farther, like a fire hose or whatever, like you said. But this is
Mm.
definitely reversed. And I don't know why it's reversed, but it is definitely reversed because his hair is not flowing right.
Even just like the animation of the stream, you can tell. It looks like it's being pushed back on him.
And also, you're right. There's the iron arm. There's the OG iron arm to see what you guys were
Yep.
talking about. And there's no there's no extended pack on the side, no caution striping.
Yep, no change to the pack at all.
Alice frame is there.
Oh, but you can totally see that padding behind it.
He's on the 3rd floor, I think, because
There should be a crossbar on that frame, right? Like like maybe an inch below where the bend happens to make it meet with the shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
And we do not see it there. And I think that's because what they did is they added a whole ass custom pad to it.
Yeah.
Like over the crossbar and everything.
And then I think this ladder. I think Finn's on the 3rd floor of the firehouse, and then I think this is the ladder to the roof.
Oh. Oh, and Infernal has a good point. That looks like icicles up in the upper right corner as well.
Yeah. Then like this is I guess these storage boxes. Like this is definitely the firehouse on the 3rd because the firehouse technically has a 3rd floor. We've just never seen it. I don't think.
Yeah. I wonder if this is what Trevor is doing while Phoebe is sliding down the pole in that iced over shot that we see earlier where she's wearing the HasLab.
Oh God, is Trevor responsible for the ghost getting out? That would be hilarious. Whoops. No studying. And then that's it. We get a nice, beautiful shot of the proton pack, which is in reverse for some reason. I don't know why it's in reverse. I have no clue why it's in reverse. Maybe it's you know what'd be like going really down deep the conspiracy rabbit hole? Maybe it's the polarity is reversed on the pack. And he doesn't realize that when he fires it, that's why it does that weird shit.
Who knows?
Nobody we will know in March. And we have a name. The most important thing, we have a name. Frozen Empire.
Oh, there's more. There's that final shot of everybody in the parkas.
Oh God, that looks so good.
Dude, the villain teaser here, like this like obviously like Ice Queen feminine kind of thing they have going on, like it's really well done and unique and like a new thing and like
the new thing's the big one, because Chris, even you were like, if it's, I swear to God, if it's Vigo the Carpathian again, like if they just rehash another villain again, like we wanted to see a new villain, we don't want to go Gozer again, Part of the fun is discovering in the movies, the first 2 movies anyways, discovering what the villain is and where they came from, which they explain in both films. Granted, it's not a long scene, but they explain enough so you get an idea where like it's bad news, And then Paul Rudd on the building, just channeling all the energy for people like us who are watching the trailer.
Oh man, right. And then here we go. This is the big hero shot everybody wants us to talk about here. So pause us. Pause us on this. Thanks, Greg. And so let's go down the list from right to left. First and foremost, the Ghostbuster logo patch on the parka arms appears to be in black and white.
It's also bigger, a lot bigger than the standard patch.
Yes. It's more like it looks like it's closer to like 4x4 rather than the standard 2 and 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. So almost like 50% bigger. Second of all, it appears that they all have like some kind of updated gizmo in their parka pocket that is just lighting up in a square of LEDs, and it's going in counterclockwise. Third of all, let's talk about Paul Rudd. Let's talk about Phoebe's proton pack first and foremost. That looks like a wrap of cloth tape around the base of her thrower, leading to the hose that goes to the pack. It could. We don't have great quality here, so it could also be some kind of 90-degree PVC pipe piece. That would not surprise the heck out of me. Next up, we have Paul Rudd's thrower. If you look very closely at his thrower, there's a couple of major details here. First, there's the big modified barrel that we talked about with the big barrel shroud and everything. Then the grip looks like it's much thicker and chunkier, that front grip. Then right below that, on that whole sidewall of the thrower appears to have like an extra yellow layer on top of the heatsink side.
Yeah, there's something on the side of it. Yeah.
Yeah. We don't get too clear of a shot of the rear other than like the hose going over his arm and some more of the parka details where you have some like where they've modified the parkas to have these like clip greeblies attached. Yeah. Then we get Callie. Woo, everybody's excited to talk about Callie in this shot because she's got the modified ecto goggles. Those appear to be almost stock ecto goggles, but the lenses are different.
So to be fair, it's not the Afterlife ones, right? It's a different type of, yeah. So this is new, technically new.
Yes.
New gear.
Yeah.
So Chris, you're the ecto goggle master. So you're gonna I expect these to be recreated this time by next year. So
oh, I know. I still don't have Afterlife goggles, but I'm gonna have these. So the short fat lens appears to be a little bit longer than the OG ones, and a little bit fatter, and then the long lens is way longer. So the lenses on these goggles appear to be very different from like the old school like Ray Stantz goggles. Then we get Callie's thrower, the same place on Callie's thrower connection where the hose connects. It looks like the hose is kind of kinked.
well, this could be a thing, like a small detail with like originally in the Ghostbusters universe, they each built their own pack with help, but like their packs are very subtly different, right? Like you've said, like Venkman's weld lines are much less prettier than Ray's or Egon's, right? Like little stuff like that. It could just be like that. It could just be like that's her pack's a little different than everyone else's because she did it, but it looks good. It looks great. I think the little LED light thing, I think that's some kind of gizmo to protect them from whatever the spirit freezes around them, maybe.
I think yes. Yeah. So a lot of fans are speculating that it's a new belt gizmo. I think it might be something that's built into these special like ghost winter parkas. Cuz like these are obviously supposed to be specialized parkas. I think those might be like thermoregulator heat, safety whatever things to like make sure that they can exist out in this cold. Because the other big thing too is like in previous shots, Callie was wearing mittens and a turtleneck and everything, and she is obviously not wearing a turtleneck or mittens in this shot. And as Schlebo said, magic science parkas.
Magic parka. I hope we get like. Have you ever watched the old James Bond movies? You know when he goes through Q and he shows them all his gear he uses through the movie. Do you think we'll get a scene like that with like Ray and the intern, like they'll walk him through the new gear and they'll say like, "Here's what you use for this, and they'll kind of.
I think that might be Act 2. Yeah,
that would be great. I love that. But yeah, this is the big one. And then, like I said, just Paul Rudd. That's not scripted. That's just him holding the proton pack, being excited on set. That's just natural Paul Rudd energy.
Who wouldn't?
It's Paul. It's like, could you imagine the second movie? They're like, when should we be in the second movie? Oh, great. Let me grab my checkbook. Why? Because I'm going to pay you to be in the movie. Why would you pay me? I'm going to pay you, right? Like, this is how this works. Yeah, Phoebe. I'm expecting
Honestly,
Phoebe to make stuff because she's the closest thing to a physicist on the team with that we know of as of right now, without knowing any of the new characters. So
honestly, Infernal, with the way that they set up her character in Afterlife, I almost feel like she and James A. Caster. James A. Caster is going to be like the new physicist equipment technician, and then she is going to be kind of like this kid who just sort of knows things like innately, and is very, very smart, and they're going to kind of butt heads on stuff, and like, yeah, I think it's going to be a combination of both.
the most important thing is that, like, people always says at its core, Ghostbusters is a comedy, and well, I agree with that statement, but I also think like it's been 30 years. It's important to have fun with the franchise, and that's what they're doing in this one. They're
Yeah.
having more fun, and I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
You know, more gear, more weird stuff, more fun. You know, it doesn't have to be nonstop laughs all the time. It doesn't have to be Reaganomics, back end subtlety stuff. It's great if it does, but like, you know, they want to have fun with it. And we've had it's
Reaganomics.
three different costumes, Chris. We have the original costume, the parkas, and the black jacket we keep seeing. So that's, I mean,
Yeah. And
if
that's
there's
not even
not a
getting
clothing
into
line next year.
if you, dude. Did you notice if you scroll us back to one of the shots of Ray? He is wearing the same, like, yeah, that's a shot of him wearing that shirt. There's another shot of him wearing that shirt. That is the same denim shirt, like overshirt he was wearing in Ghostbusters 1 when Dana came to the firehouse.
Oh.
No, when he's just like hanging out, smoking cigarettes, fixing the ecto, and then they pull him away and he's drinking Budweiser and eating Cheez-Its. That's the same denim shirt.
That's wild.
Yeah. Not the exact.
I don't see. No, we didn't
yeah.
see podcast in uniform, which is kind of sad.
No,
I mean,
yeah.
not allowed. His parents are like, "Where's our son?" Wait, does he even have parents? We talked about this already. No,
Dude,
not-
no, 100% Infernal. Exactly. Like, I'm picturing a scene where Acaster will be describing something. She'll correct him, and he'll say, "Who are you again?" And she'll say, "I'm the granddaughter of the man who invented your job." Like 100. Yes,
Okay, sure.
absolutely. Yeah, that. That's absolutely where I'm like going with that. Of like, yeah. No, she's like just as smart, if not smarter than him, probably.
But yeah, I mean, it looks great. I can't wait. I'm excited because I don't want a cinematic universe. I like that they take their time with this. If we don't get a movie every year, that's fine with me. If it's every 4 years, at this rate, it'll be what 4 years. It'd be 4 years, right? 2020 was the original release date, so 4 years. That's fine. That's like normal sequel time to me. This 2-year turnaround is too fast.
Ooh. You know what, Greg? It's interesting that you point that out because what's the gap between Ghostbusters 1 and 2?
4 years. There you go. Yeah.
1984 to 1989.
Yeah. Looks great. I can't wait. But yeah, with that, I'm gonna end the stream early because it is a work day for Chris and I. So
yeah.
But we just wanted to. We were really excited. We wanted to do a little impromptu stream, breaking it down. Chris is the foremost expert. If there's anything, if I'm not super busy and it's Spirits Unleashed or Ghostbusters related, I will be writing about it on Shack News, so you can keep it posted there. And then you can just follow Chris and I on Twitter or Facebook. We're pretty active on our Facebook, which is Northern California Ghostbusters. NG. What's our Facebook, Chris? You know what it is.
NorCal Ghostbusters.
NorCal Ghostbusters on Facebook. I think it's in the description on our YouTube channel too. And we have our Twitter, and you can always contact us there as well. But yeah, so it looks great. I want to thank everyone for hanging out in the chat and interacting with us. That was a blast. And yes, Chris and I are going to be following this very closely. And you bet your damn bridges, I will be reaching out to Sony PR to be like, get me on this press list, please.
Well, and please go to YouTube, find Gregors85, and like and subscribe and smash that bell icon, because that's where pretty much even if you don't catch us live, whatever we do is going to end up there on YouTube. We've got some fun stuff coming up that we're planning, so keep an eye there.
Sounds good. So thanks everyone for joining, and I'll see everyone a little bit later.